Okay, so welcome back everybody. You're watching the Premier League Season 3. My name is Triumphant Man and I'm casting Absolute Legends on the dire side versus Virtus.Pro. This is game number 2 in a best of 3 series. Currently, Virtus.Pro do hold a 1-0 advantage. Absolute Legends, they did put up a pretty good showing in the early game last match. Unfortunately, Virtus.Pro did eventually just shut them down and choke them out of the match. Made sure they could get nothing. They just shut them down, made sure they had no room to move, and gradually just kept killing them over and over and over. Pushing down those towers and just snowballing out of control. And honestly, just came down to the team fight potential. They just could not deal with Ravage plus the Primal Split. It was just way too much for them to handle, despite managing to shut down that Templar Assassin. But continuing on with these bans here, we do have Darkseer banned once again, Nargothrond as well, Linnea being banned by Virtus.Pro this time. Virtus.Pro actually used Linnea last match, and to be dead honest, she got slammed by Absolute Legends. They're dual mid versus their Absolute Legends dual mid with CM. No, they didn't have Sam. They had the Venomancer, I'm sorry. Venomancer and Chaos Knight versus Crystal Maiden on Virtus.Pro plus Linnea was much, much stronger. Crystal Maiden and Linnea were unable to contend with the slow as well as the stun and reality rift. As well as the fact that Chen also popped out of the jungle on the odd occasion to gank. Now, Absolute Legends, last match, they got their hands on an early Chen. Virtus.Pro, though, with the first pick this time round, will they try and snag themselves a jungler? Of course, Chen and Enchantress often picked. The other hero I see often first picked, if not Rubik when he's not banned, this time round, of course, getting taken out, is Leshrac. Leshrac is a very popular first pick these days, just because he's very flexible. Virtus.Pro will give nothing away, and Leshrac will fit in almost any role. He can push, he's got a good nuke, he can semi-carry at a pinch, but it will be Tidehunter. Virtus.Pro actually playing Tidehunter last match as well. His Ravages were extremely effective, just went for the early mech to help them push, do all that good early game aggression. It's one of those items, if you're not going for the really early pipe, you can just go, you know what, let me just get a mech, and it can be it just basically adds a lot of EHP to your team's lineup. And if you're all balling up as a group just to try and push early on, it is very, very effective. The double pick for AL now. What will they go for? It kind of depends what kind of strategy they want to bust out here. I'm kind of expecting to see some relatively flexible heroes picked up early on. That's generally the go-to plan for a lot of teams. They just pick generic, flexible heroes. Generally, you often see supports or solos get picked up early. But they've decided, you know what? Let's get our hands on Invoker as well as the Enigma. The Enigma now likely to be the Suicide Solo. He does extremely well in that role. If things go completely bad in his lane and he cannot afford to sit there because there's triple stuns, triple slows, all sorts of nasty stuff like that, he can just go, alright, screw this lane, I'm not achieving anything here, let me just duck into the jungle and catch up my farm there. Or he can even just stay in the lane, make sure he defends the tower, and then close to the 10-12 minute mark when his tower is about to naturally get pushed down anyway, he can just go, alright, I'm out of here, I'm going to go and catch up in the jungle and get some experience as well as money in there. Now the double pick for Virtus.Pro though, what will they go for? Now, Tidehunter last match, I thought he was going to be a support, but then he was actually switched around. He was played as basically a Suicide Solo. He did actually get a decent amount of farm, and Windrunner. Windrunner was actually being played as a support hero, which was kind of odd. Don't normally see her played as that, but she can definitely do it. Somewhat odd, though, but at the same time, was still very, very effective. She even got a 4-star up and running, so it was still quite good. But at the same time, somewhat unusual. So, Virtus.Pro, will they go for a farming Tidehunter once again, or will they try and do something else with him? And Disruptor is a hero that we honestly do not see enough of. Glimpse is so powerful. The amount of space he can basically displace somebody catches so many players completely off guard. And then a Broodmother to boot as well. Okay, so with a Broodmother being picked up, that is probably going to be the side lane, the Suicide Solo. And in this case, Tidehunter, well, he could be a farmer still. It could be Disruptor plus another hero, or just Disruptor supporting the Tidehunter. And then they have a Suicide Solo, a jungler, or a third hero to support, and then a solo mid. So they've still got a lot of options over to them. I would like to see a farming Tidehunter again. Virtus.Pro, they played it well last time. Actually, the other kind of hero I would like to see, Nakes. Virtus.Pro have been playing a fair amount of Nakes recently and having some decent results with him. So it's not that. And honestly, with the new armlet changes, Nakes is a lot of fun to watch in action as well. That said, though, they try to use it mostly when they have heroes that have a lot of tricks up, like a lot of mobility tricks up their sleeve. And currently, Virtus.Pro don't really have that, so maybe we'll probably won't see that. Lone Druid, though, the next pick. Now, we've seen how well a negative armor strat worked against the Lone Druid. It was really effective. It was Linnea plus Nakes. And we saw that yesterday. Not yesterday, the day before yesterday, and it was extremely powerful, completely shredded Lone Druid. The negative armor plus Feast just completely tearing through his naturally high health pool, caused so much damage to him, and just completely shut him down, plus the fact that open wounds just cripples him. He cannot move cannot move at all once he gets hit by open wounds. Extremely powerful. And we're going to move into the second banning phase here. Now, I would not be surprised if Virtus.Pro decided, you know what, let's get rid of some stuff like Sand King just to make sure that they can't deal with Broodmother spam. In all honesty, right now, they really can't. There's not a lot of AoE on AL's side at the moment. If they ban off heroes like Beastmaster and the Sand King, that is going to make life kind of tough for Absolute Legends to deal with Broodmother and Silent, especially if they're going to be throwing the Lone Druid down there. He really can't do a whole lot about the Spiderlings at all, and it will be down to his supports to try and keep them off it. But Venomancer being banned by Virtus.Pro first, they will be getting rid of that. Interesting decision to get rid of the Venomancer. I suppose he's a little bit worried. Plague Ward's always nice. Queen of Pain, though, the next ban for Absolute Legends. Don't really see Queen of Pain banned all that much. She gets picked every now and then. Definitely a strong hero. She's not really... She doesn't really tend to get in there in the banning phase, though. Most teams tend to overlook her. There are a lot of other heroes that tend to be very, very scary. Currently, though, I've got to say, Absolute Legends, they are definitely lacking some support heroes. They really could do with some support heroes at the moment. Even just one good hard support and then Enigma as the soft support would be extremely effective. Looks like they are going to ban off the Enchantress, so I guess they're a little bit worried. I can see why they're banning Enchantress. Might even see Chen get picked off as well in that case, just because they're a little bit worried about Broodmother being overpowered in the first two levels. Anywhere between the 0 and 4 minute mark, they're very worried about Broodmother being overpowered and just getting driven back, having her tower busted down really early on. Because with a couple of counter wards, even though the lane will get pushed down towards her rear tower will be somewhat safe down there, a bunch of counter wards in her webs can make life very difficult for Brood to move up. Especially when you've got dedicated supports making her life hell. The final ban here for Virtus.Pro, what are they going to knock off? And it will be the Chen indeed, so they are very worried. It looks like Broodmother, I think it's definitely going to be the Broodmother in the sideline, unless they are trying to do something crazy like Tidehunter in the sideline again. But I think it'll be Broodmother, and they're just getting rid of the Chen and Enchantress because they do not want those early tower downs. So 2 to 4 minute mark, Chen and Enchantress can quite easily destroy towers, especially when you've got stuff like Lone Druid, Invoker, or Enigma backing up the push. Invoker, of course, does have access to the Forge Elementals. Enigma with his Eidolons and Lone Druid with the Bear. Plenty of minions all around to cause trouble. One final ban for AL, though. I honestly think they really want to... Well, there's a couple of good AoE heroes there. They will pick off the Tinker, though. And actually, I've got to say, Tinker plus the Disruptor is very, very rude. You throw down March Machines, then glimpse someone back into the March Machines and force trap them as well. It's pretty much lights out. If you level 7, you max out March Machines, and you trap someone inside the force field, there's not much they can do about that. They just get completely shredded by March. It is rather disgusting to watch. Not to mention, if you can get a Ravage off March Machines and the trap, that's lights out. That combo there is just completely and utterly crippling. Now, though, the next series of picks, and at the moment, Virtus.Pro, they could do with another. If Tidehunter is not going to be a support hero, and here is the tricky question: what are they going to do with the Tidehunter Windrunner? Now, last match we saw Virtus.Pro run the Windrunner as a support. Tidehunter was a farmer. There is, of course, complete potential for this to be completely switched on its head. Windrunner could be the primary farmer, and Tidehunter could be the support. In all honesty, though, I do prefer Tidehunter as the primary farmer, just because he does more with items. In all honesty, with early items, just getting the early mech or the early pipe, he just goes, or even an early blink, he just scales a lot faster in that early game than Windrunner does. Of course, Windrunner, she goes to late games with ridiculous items. We've all seen players like Genji just get ridiculous items on their Windrunners and tear faces apart in the late game, but it's not really what their lineup is looking for. Virtus.Pro is looking for early pressure, lots of towers down early on, and then going for probably about the 25-30 minute racks if they can possibly find, or even just putting a lot of pressure on and then just choking absolutely just make sure they've got no room to farm. In fact, to be dead honest, especially with Invoker, his big AoE spam, Enigma with his big AoEs as well, I honestly feel like they just want to control the map and just accelerate their farm a lot faster than AL and just make sure AL are stuck in their base. They won't be too worried about ganking, they won't be too worried about going for the racks, they just want to push them into their base and make sure AL cannot farm. And if they can do that, with Broodmother and Windrunner and Tidehunter, I'm pretty sure that they will be able to find themselves an advantage there. Wisp, though, is an interesting pick. This is an interesting choice. Something I've seen teams do before with the Invoker and Lone Druid combo is to get Alacrity and throw it in the Spirit Bear and just use it to remotely push. Now, they can do a similar thing as well. Wisp, of course, can tether up as well, and they can use it to try and heal up. And what is this? A last pick of Obsidian Destroyer. by Virtus.Pro. This is a hero that is very popular in the Southeast Asian scene. Teams like MUFC are incredibly well known for their Obsidian Destroyer, but still, we don't get to see it all that frequently. But he is definitely an extremely powerful late game force. He hits like a truck. His downside is he's kind of squishy, doesn't have an inbuilt escape mechanism. On the other hand, though, he's still pretty viable in the early mid phase, just because he's got a really big AoE nuke. His ultimate can completely crush heroes. And at the same time, his auto attack still does a fairly strong amount of damage during the early mid game, just because the pure damage just completely rips heroes apart, and he can get a lot of cheap intelligence as well if he wants to. Tiny, though, the final pick. AL going for a wombo combo in the form of Tiny and Wisp. Now, this is a pretty disgusting combo when they can make it happen. Unfortunately, the downside is there is a big weakness. If a team can focus fire Wisp and pick him off, Tiny becomes, well, pretty much useless. It's rather sad to watch that happen when Tiny gets shut down because Wisp just keeps getting killed. Anyway, let me call out the players here. So, there we go. Okay, let me call out the... Nope. There. Alright. That's what I'm looking for. Alright, so, playing on the Radiant side, Virtus.Pro, KSI is playing Tyranitar, Airman is playing Obsidian Destroyer, Windrunner is being played by Crazy, Amadeus Mozart playing Broodmother, NS on the Disruptor as well. In fact, I believe Moscow 5 was banning... I'm pretty sure they banned Disruptor against NS every single time they faced him, just because they were so scared as to how strong his Disruptor was. We'll see how exactly what he can do this match. Now, on Absolute Legend side, on the die, we've got Come With Me playing Wisp, Vigos playing the Tiny, Freezer playing Lone Druid, and Mania on the Enigma, and Sony playing Invoker. Freezer is going to be running a Suicide Solo Lone Druid. Now, this is kind of rough. If he's up against a kill lane, there's not much he can do about it, or even just a lane that's fairly aggressive. There's not a lot he can do about it. And he may just have to resort to ducking into the jungle. And this is going to be very frustrating indeed. His bear is already taking a lot of damage here. He may even need to send that back early on. He's hoping to be able to just... what he wants to do is to jack the creep wave, to try and force the creep equilibrium back towards his tower, to try and keep himself safe. He's going to sneak it around here, trying to avoid damage. Going to try and charge around and pick up this creep wave. He's taking a lot of damage out of that Baron. May even need to resummon it pretty soon. As you see there, no, wow, he's still got 90 seconds left, and that's not going to happen. There we go. He's going to try and jack this creep wave, keep it bottled back up here. Going to try and avoid as much damage as possible. But what he wants to happen is for this creep wave of his to end up under the tower, get slaughtered, and then for the creep to naturally push up to around about this area so he can farm it safely. Meanwhile, up top though, Broodmother in a bit of trouble. It looks like Tiny's going in for the kill. They've got the ward down already. There's the stun from Tiny. Tether also proccing. Can they do enough damage though? Wisp now. We've got a Sunstrike coming in. It's good. It lands the hit. Or does actually. I don't think it quite managed to hit there. We've got the potion popped as well. The first blood though goes to Tiny. He is fast enough thanks to Wisp speeding him up. And Tiny, with nearly 70 damage a hit, managing to bring down the Broodmother, also popping his own health potion. And it looks like we're going to see an Exhort Quace Invoker. This is the really fun kind of Invoker in my opinion. Not to really belittle the whole Quace Wex Invoker, but at the same time I think it's a little boring, a little bit easy. Basically two big gigantic easy buttoned spells. Whereas there's a lot of micro and a lot of finesse with the Exhort Quace Invoker. It's a lot of fun to watch in action. Now we saw the Lone Druid losing his bear already. That's 100 gold. 100 gold to his the enemy supports is quite painful. And now he can't even see us safely. Cannot really get too close to his crevice. See NS already popping out to cause trouble. And they know the counter ward is there, and it looks like he's going to move in. He's going to throw in his own counter ward now. Mozart actually knows he's going to duck back. Definitely a little bit worried. But you see, he's already got counter wards. He wants to get rid of the enemy ward, which he knows is in this web. He's just trying to pick a safe moment to do it. Or maybe he's not going to bother. There we go. He's just said, screw it, not going to bother. Never mind then. I see Lone Druid copying a fair amount of harass though. Meanwhile, they're camping for the 2-minute rune. Don't find anything. I believe it is up top. There is a regen rune up top. Broodmother now still copying harass. She knows she's visible though. See Wisp just going to harass with the orbs if he can land them. Broodmother just staying a step ahead there thanks to the web's movement speed buff. And WCS never. Yes, I did see that. Technically that is a nerf, remember? Actually, no, it's a buff. That's right. Fewer legs is a win. It is better. Never mind. That is a buff. Of course, the Statman Bruno coming up with those amazing statistics. See Wisp, look at all of these sentry wards. He really, really wants to shut down this Broodmother, something harsh. I really feel sorry for Amadeus Mozart here. This is not going to be a fun lane at all. I think this is possibly why he's not wasting his sentry wards, because he's looked at Wisp and gone, you son of a, as he's seen exactly how many he's got. See Wisp even throwing one down over here. This will do a couple of good things. A, it'll look for enemy. It's not a bad spot there. It'll watch this web over here, and see Broodmother already trying to escape into the trees there, trying to get away. Now meanwhile, we've had some items delivered. Invoker being harassed back there just a little bit, but crazy suffering. I think he's having to burn his mount already. He's had to go for some really early patches, although he does have a regen room bottled anyway, so he will be fine. And he's just gonna. This is gonna give him a good advantage here. He's just gonna start spamming those power shots, as you can see, causing a lot of trouble.
Denied.
This is definitely not good news for Broodmother though. The Sunstrike is starting to get leveled up, and as soon as they land a stun on Broodmother, she is likely to die. They'll chain stun very quickly, very efficiently, and it will pretty much all but guarantee Sunstrike to land, which is going to be incredibly painful for her. See the Spirit Bear already copying a lot of damage, once again being harassed back. Broodmother though trying to snipe off some creep here. Getting whatever she can, wherever she can. And this is just going to get worse for her when Enigma pops out as well, if he pops out. But they definitely have plenty of potential to push down an early tower if they want to. Disruptor though still holding onto a ward. Decides normally we see the second ward get thrown in around here as a lane ward to just watch. Defensive lane ward just to watch for any incoming TP ganks. But in this case I don't think they're too worried, just because it's unlikely to be any TP ganks, just because at the moment you see here Sony, he's doing Exhort. The Exhort build, so he's just going to Sunstrike from afar anyway, and Wisp and Tiny will not want to move just because they need to get their level 6s anyway. Rather, Wisp needs to get his level 6. Once he gets level 6, they won't even bother teleporting to the tower. They'll just pop in right behind an enemy hero. And then, of course, Enigma, well, he's kind of busy getting his own farm happening, so not too worried about the TP ganks for good reason. And we'll probably just see Annis hold onto this ward just for a little bit longer until he decides where he wants to put it. They might even go for an offensive ward in the enemy jungle just to try and help them spot up a good gank on Enigma to help slow him down. See Tiny though, he's already with that first blood, he's already managed to pick up his arcane boots, and this is not fun news for Broodmother. She's already, if you remember Broodmother, she is already annoying. She pops out, spams the Spirelings with the Soul Ring. It's very, very frustrating, those spawn Spirling spam. Now you consider that Tiny can pretty much spam his toss as much as he wants, because with Tether he can just spam his combo non-stop every 30 seconds, so because with Tether he can basically double the amount of mana he gets back from those boots. See there, Enigma doing farm away, already has his Soul Ring up and running. There we go, they're going to go in for the kill here. Do they have another Sentry Ward? No, it doesn't look like it. Broodmother's being harassed a little bit there, and Wisp has spent his Sentry Wards watching all of those webs there. There is a courier inbound with an item for somebody. It's Dust there. Will it show up in time? Tiny though gets a kill there on Lone Drill. There's a Dust here. Broodmother on the run. Manages to dodge the stun though. Great play from her. The toss going her up in the air though. Can they get the damage in? A double kill for Sony though. And there we go. They will run down Broodmother eventually. Her legs proving to be too much of a liability, taking her out. Meanwhile, Sony getting a double kill. The Exhort Invoker proving to be too strong.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Shenanigans going on down here.
Top tower has fallen.
The top tower also getting brought down there, and Wisp and Tiny going to continue pushing. There we go. Watch the double mana gain there. See, he's pretty much back up at full because that Tether doubling that mana gain. The question is, who's going to get him the mech? And we see Sanity's Eclipse. You saw how much damage he did, but the ports come in. Here comes Disruptor as well. He goes for the Banish. The Astral Imprisonment, not enough to save him though. And now Wisp, it's 4 seconds before being sent back. Will he break the Tether? No, he will not. Sunstrike will land. It does a ton of damage. In fact, Tiny probably could have finished that had he decided to chase by himself. But Wisp, as well as Tiny, head back to the top lane. And I've got to say, I love the Wisp pick just because it's so aggressive. And Tiny walks straight into Titan and takes him out with a combo. Or actually, not even a combo, just takes him out with a stun. It was rather unfortunate. Titan just sort of wandered into Tiny there. Meanwhile, Windrunner going solo mid. We'll see there at the net worth. Tiny though, 400 GPM at the moment. These ganks left, right and center just managing to skyrocket his GPM. Meanwhile, on the mid lane though, they are roughly equals. Check the actual CS. Windrunner though slightly out CSing. Actually, yeah, slightly out CSing the Invoker. You see there she's 41-8 to the 33-6 for Invoker. Of course, Invoker, though, picking up a bit of extra farm just from managing to Sunstrike across the maps. Invoker actually going for an early Yules. He's picked up the Sobi Mask as well as the Staff of Wizardry. Meanwhile, Enigma still keeping to himself. Does have a good 500 gold in the bank. I thought he would have bought something more by now. He did get an early tower out of it, and he hasn't been interrupted at all, so there we go. You see the Disruptor was going to he decided, you know, I'll check the rune there, have a look for the rune. Unfortunately, then remembered, oh wait, it's night time and I don't have vision. See, Windrunner though finds himself a double damage rune, bottles that up, and we see Broodmother being incredibly defensive at the moment. See the Tiny though, again, it looks like they're going for another kill here. They get the stun down there on top of poor old oh no, he managed to get the Astral Imprisonment off in time. Can they get the kill? They will actually just go for the escape here, using Tether to get himself out of trouble, and will actually teleport Lone Drill back to the top lane. We're still very, very low here, using the Tether to speed himself out of trouble though. And we see there another stun thrown down by Tiny. Can he get the kill? A couple of last hits here might be enough. One more attack. Will it be enough? A Sunstrike's coming in, and it lands successfully. Invoker gets the kill. So I do apologise. Forgot to turn that on for the third time in a row, so the Dota TV thing has had no voice for the last 9 minutes. My fault there. So we've had this game restart like 3 times in a row. See, our Obsidian Destroyer though, just going to be pushing and farming away here. What's he sitting on in CS wise? He's currently sitting 47 and 23. I think this is going to be the big liability. It's going to be the big liability for ours. Like the fact that Lone Druid is going to go into this mid game so far behind, and they're going to be trying to deal with this Obsidian Destroyer, who's going to be really, really farmed. You see, they're sitting on 1800 gold. Mo hasn't really been disrupted all that much. They've had one decent game come in there and just sort of frustrate him a little bit, but it hasn't really been that serious. And he's getting the last hits that he needs, he's getting the farm he needs in lane. Hasn't really been pressured out either. These couple of ganks are nice, but what stops a carrot from farming really is full-on pressure. The kind of thing that's been happening to Lone Druid, the amount of pressure he's been under, the things been happening to Broodmother as well. That's the kind of pressure they want to have on this guy. See their Freezer taking critical damage. In fact, had Broodmother not chickened out there for a second and kept pushing in, she probably could have killed him just then. I think she's regretting not continuing to chase there. And now Wisp and Tiny on the warpath once again. And it looks like they don't manage to find anything though. They were hoping to find something, nothing there at all.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Mid tower, they're going to fall easily. No, all the heroes down here at the moment, they find absolutely no defense being mustered. Freezer now apparently lagging. Freezer apparently unlagging now, but unfortunately he has been hammered in this lane, has absolutely no farm. You see how far behind he is. Is rather unfortunate. We're going to bring this up now as well. 195 GPM. Honestly, I've seen some suicide solo Lone Druids do a lot worse than that, but this is still not a desirable position to be in. Especially since Broodmother on 207, but the fact is she will accelerate her farm a lot faster. Meanwhile, a bit of a fight happening in mid right now. They don't manage to find anything. They'll do critical damage to Titan, but that's about it. Shackle shot though on Mania. Mania in some serious trouble. A couple of auto attacks and he will go down. One more hit. Windrunner finds the kill. And a backfired gank there. And they will actually smoke up as well. Wisp now going to go for a teleport. Where are they headed off to? And they've gone top. They're going to look for the Broodmother here. Unfortunately, Sunstrike is not going to land. They did not get the disables down, which is the main thing. If they'd gotten the stun there, that would have been an entirely different story. But it looks like Tiny's already getting ready for his Arcanum Scepter. And now the teleport back into mid. Can they find Windrunner? Windrunner already backing up. Fortunately, this ward spotting up trouble. See Obsidian Destroyer though. This looks like to me says he is just going straight for a Hex. And that is going to be crippling just because he can completely nullify something like... If Wisp and Tiny come in, pretty much he can just completely nullify Tiny and then just kill him in a couple of hits. He's going to hit him like a truck. And with Hex and the disables that they have, Ravage as well, Windrunner with her Shackle, I don't really see this going to, and of course he can try and take either the Tiny the Wisp out of the mix there with Astral Imprisonment. So I really don't know about this combo. I mean, it's fun to watch the Wisp Tiny combo. This is really, really fun to watch, but I think come the mid to late game, they are going to suffer somewhat just because they have not put as much pressure as they needed to on this Obsidian Destroyer. And in fact, Obsidian is feeling so confident, he's actually going to charge up here and look for a gank. He has got an Invis rune. Finds nothing though. Lone Druid backs up in time. He might be able to go into the mid though and try and pick up Invoker. Invoker does have Yules though. Invoker now being spotted up by Obsidian Destroyer. He's probably going to wait for a friend to come in there. He gets the silence down as well. Trapped inside there. Will actually Yules himself. Trying to get away here. And there we see the damage being stacked on by that orb. Actually gets out with Ghost Walk just in time. No counter invis tech. A glimpse there. Going to send Tiny back all the way to his tower before he can drop a combo. Quick reflexes there from Disruptor. Disruptor though still without boots. He's of course only 30 minutes in, but yeah, he's a little bit slow at this point in time. Opts just to teleport straight back home to pick up mana. Finds himself some boots now. Invoker now picks himself up another Staff of Wizardry. This looks like a 4-staff. And this isn't too uncommon. 4-staff as well as a Yules. Hell, you see Dandy play his Invoker. He'll go for a Blink Dagger as well. Blink and Force just because he loves his mobility. 4-staff's definitely incredibly useful. Anything they can use to try and put distance between himself and Obsidian Destroyer. Obsidian Destroyer doesn't have that due to range. He is somewhat vulnerable to getting kited around a little bit. We see here Tiny though possibly thinking about going for a kill here. Now doing some damage to Windrunner, but it's not really a whole lot. And the issue is right now they just cannot get the distance. One of the issues I have with this build is Tiny is still, it's just difficult for him to get in range. In fact, is anybody building drums, that would help him out a lot. See there's a combo there from Invoker, does critical damage to Windrunner. Windrunner though continuing to fight, throws down the shackle, doesn't land correctly. One more hit, it isn't quite enough. Although here comes Tiny. Windrunner though, no escape for her, no Tiny, just Wisp jumping in there. And can they get another kill? There's the Astral Imprisonment there. Who was that targeting? It is on Tiny. Can he get a stun? And he's got the stun off cooldown. And there they go, Cold Snap. Tiny though manages to get the Sandage Clips off along with a Ravage. Does critical damage. A Black Hole getting thrown down by Enigma. Tiny though charging in with Wisp, still looking for blood. They pick off Thrall. Disruptor is down. A Toss manages to take out Obsidian Destroyer. And AO finally lands some more good kills. It's been a bit of a dry spell for them the last few minutes, but they finally land some good kills in there. And this is what Tiny wants, working towards that Argonim still. And can they take a tower here as well? We've got the conversion up there. And they will take this tower nice and easy. Some great pickoffs there by Tiny as well as the Wisp. Wisp jumping in solo just to clean up Windrunner. And a toss being used by Tiny just to do some more damage there as well. Invoker getting it last in on that tower. Meanwhile, Broodmother though is free farming up in the top lane. She doesn't have that much cash yet though. Has finished up the power treads. Lone Druid also playing a bit of a solo PvE game at the moment. He has picked up a Hand of Midas. Oh boy. Is this a bit of a Battle Bear build? I just don't really see him getting anything useful in any useful frame of or period of time. Obsidian Destroyer though still farming away. He's sitting on 800 gold. He's still about a good 2k plus before. Oh, I hear a Disruptor popping a glimpse. Who is he targeting? I think he's managed to snake a disruption there. Rather a glimpse there on Mania. Apparently someone's lagging again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Enigma has been hit by glimpse. So we're going to see him wind up somewhere around this area. Breeze is saying go try. What really matters at this point in time, he's kind of hiding behind his tower anyway. But anyway, let's keep an eye on this Enigma because I think he's about to get jumped. Yes, he is. Trapped straight inside with an ultimate and wall combo. Very nicely done. Yule's been used to try and get him out of trouble. Gush going to finish off. Great combo there from Invoker. Does critical damage. Obsidian Destroyer goes down. And a toss in on Thrall using that tether very effectively as an instantaneous stun there. Wisp now going to go back in 3 seconds. He will actually de-tether, allowing Tiny to stay in lane. A teleport out there. Nice little escape in the end there. I think that was tied into jumping back to, well, it was tied into escaping with a teleportation scroll. And a 4-staff is done and dusted for Invoker. Tons of mobility. But he saw him just instantly spin around and slam Destroyer with a Deafening Blast and Meteor combo. That was utterly crushing.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Tidehunter going to try and charge in here. He's got 20 seconds left on his Ravage before he can pop it again. There is reinforcements arising. If we can see a glimpse here, it's got a nice range, but just out. They don't quite have line of sight to the Tiny and the Invoker there. And I don't think any of them have counter invis tech, so it wouldn't really matter if they got the Invoker. He just popped Ghost Walk. And we go 4 staff there from the Invoker. Great mobility. Going to set up. What a shot, that combo. Windrunner with the Yules. No chance to even move. That was honestly perfectly played. I don't think Invokers would have played that any better. Invoker playing, oh my god, that was possibly one of the better combos we've seen in a while. Just using that to set up the Sunstruck along with the Meteor, then Tiny throwing in a stun underneath this wall. The teleport's coming top though. Can they find a kill? No, Broodmother is long gone. That will not find any kills at all. In fact, Tiny just going to try and kill Spiderlings just for free cash. Lone Druid's still going for a really late Midas here. He's picked up the Midas already. 1,300 gold in the bank. It looks like he's possibly still intent on that Radiance. I just don't know if he can get it. I've got to say though, the amount of pressure that they're putting down on Obsidian Destroyer is definitely helping things out a lot. His Hex has been slowed down quite significantly, and that's a pretty big deal. If he'd managed to pick up the Hex, Tiny and Wisp would have been in a lot of trouble. Windrunner though has finished her own mech. They have a pipe coming. Broodmother though working on a BKB. If they get a pipe out, it would definitely be incredibly helpful just to help deal with Tiny's Wombo combo, as well as a Radiance, or even just the spells there from Enigma. See the Glyph get popped there. Looks like Windrunner getting set up once again, although Windrunner allowing it to almost escape, except Tiny is not going to have any of that happen. He's finished his Arcanum Scepter. Can they get some kind of Force Staff to move them up the hill? No, they can't. Nobody's there with a Force Staff.